Have you ever listened to a song that you know you've heard before, but you can't quite put your finger on where? Well, that's how I felt the entire time I played Filmechanism, the new puzzle game from first-time developer Chemical Pudding. It has one of those simple conceits that feels so familiar that I know for a fact that I've seen it somewhere else. Yet, no matter how long I played, I couldn't figure out where I'd seen it before. Did that ruin my enjoyment of this simple yet addictive puzzler? Well, I guess you're just gonna have to find out when I review Filmechanism. This is the story of a one-eyed, green-skinned camera humanoid named Rek who loves taking pictures. In fact, he just arrived on a new star system with the goal of taking lots of snapshots. But his fun is cut short when he accidentally loses his golden film, setting him on a brain-busting adventure where the goal is to solve more than 200 puzzles and retrieve the gold film once and for all. Rek's power is simple. He's able to take pictures of how things were and then revert them back to that moment in time. That means that if he takes a picture before he makes a bunch of changes to the level, he'll be able to undo all of that and see the level how it used to be. The benefit of this is that he's not included in the snapshots, allowing him to use the reversal of time to get on the other side of boxes and solve all sorts of seemingly impossible challenges. The trick is that you're limited to the amount of pictures you can take. Rek won't be able to do much of anything until he grabs the green film, which will allow him to take and use a single picture. Some of the more advanced puzzles will have our alien friend grabbing blue and red film, allowing for up to 3 snapshots. This means that you'll need to carefully consider where and when to snap that picture and cycle between the different save states. This is one of those games that starts out incredibly easy, only to ramp up the difficulty with longer and more complicated stages. For the most part, the action plays out like a typical 8-bit platformer. A lot of the puzzles revolve around the idea of picking up a key in order to open up a locked door, which will in turn ultimately give you access to the exit flag. Beyond that, most of the items and obstacles will be familiar to anybody who's played an old-school platformer, right down to the bouncing pads, falling objects, and spike pits. There are also disappearing platforms, levers that'll open up doors, one-way electrical fields, push carts, and a few other obstacles that'll help mix up the later stages. Like how each of the 6 worlds introduces a new wrinkle to the concept and then innovates on that idea. That said, no matter how many obstacles the game throws at you, I couldn't shake the idea that most of the puzzles are solved the exact same way. I suspect that the issue is that the central picture-taking conceit is a bit limiting, making it surprisingly obvious where and when to take each photograph. So many of the puzzles can be solved by simply getting on the other side of a bunch of boxes. The harder levels are certainly more challenging, but they rarely stray far from the usual solutions. Once you've learned the basics, you'll be able to solve a good 80% of the puzzles without any mental strain. I just couldn't help but feel like this gimmick needed an extra layer. Perhaps instead of just taking pictures, Rek could record, 2 or 3 seconds of video, which you could use to solve puzzles. Or maybe some of the film is in black and white, creating new types of objects. Look, these are just ideas off the top of my head, but the point is that the central conceit needed a little more fleshing out to keep it from becoming repetitive. There are just so many cool ways you can use and manipulate film, and it's frustrating that the game barely scratches the surface of what's possible. But what it lacks in depth, Filmechanism more than makes up for it with content. There are more than 200 puzzles to solve, which will take some real doing to complete. I like how each world has a different path for the normal, hard, and hell difficulties, allowing you to choose between several puzzles with every step. Even the normal path is surprisingly long, with 77 stages standing between you and that golden film. I also like the throwback look and cute character design. This is a game that looks and feels like it could have been one of those long-lost platformers from the 1980s that's only now coming to America for the first time. That said, I wish the backgrounds and stages were a bit more varied. Thanks to the repeating obstacles and platforms, you probably won't even notice the subtle changes to the background. That's a shame, but not enough of a problem to keep you from feeling a real sense of satisfaction every time you beat one of the stages. And it's that feeling that makes me give Filmechanism a tepid recommendation. Take pictures and solve puzzles in Filmechanism, an inventive new platformer with throwback graphics and a cute alien hero. While a lot of the solutions end up being the same and the obstacles aren't especially original, Rek's lengthy adventure will keep you busy with 3 different difficulties and more than 200 stages. Puzzle fans will find a lot to like in Filmechanism, even if you've seen a lot of these ideas before. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is your favorite side-scrolling puzzle game? You know, something that has a platforming element. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back next week with more magazines, more reviews, and a brand new ninja-themed Game Over episode. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,